Welcome to RCBC's Who's in My Class on the Baroness Podcast Network with Dr. Brooke Myatt. If you look around your lecture hall, the library, or the hallway outside your math class, you see hundreds of faces. People are rushing to class, grabbing coffee, or just trying to find a quiet place to study. We spend hours every week right next to them, but how much do we really know about the people sitting in the next seat? RCBC is built on a foundation of diverse backgrounds, hidden talents, and extraordinary journeys. Behind every student idea is a story, a personal challenge, an unexpected ambition, or a goal that defines their path. This series is dedicated to asking one simple, powerful question: who is in my class? We're here to pull back the curtain and spotlight the voices of the students who make up the heart of our community. We're seeking out the deeply personal, the inspiring, and the truly unexpected stories you won't hear anywhere else. Join us and meet the people who are navigating life, defining their future, and achieving incredible things right here at RCBC. Get ready to be inspired by your classmates. This is RCBC's Who's in My Class? And who's in your class? We have Mario Cerrito, is the multiple award-winning horror filmmaker from South Jersey. His films have been critically acclaimed and popular all over the world. In 2013, you started with your first feature, Deadly Gamble. 2015, you wrote, produced, and directed The Listing and the best, and I should not say the last because you're on a roll here. We've got Human Hibachi, which includes 4 films: Human Hibachi 2, Feast in the Forest, and Human Hibachi, The Beginning, and Human Hibachi 3, The Last Supper, which is currently in production. We're about to wrap that up. The first 3 films are all signed to the legendary Troma Entertainment, and each went to win prestigious Best in Film at the New Jersey Horror Con and Film Festival in Atlantic City. You can find these movies all over the world. DVDs can be found in media stores as far as Japan and Australia. And you have been on websites such as Fangoria, Bloody Disgusting, Dread Central, Horror Society, Horror News, Horror Fuel, and more. And we were just listed in the horrornews.net's list of the top 10 independent horror filmmakers. Welcome, Mario. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you so much for having me.
You have such a cool, unique story when we first met about going back to coming to RCBC. And why don't kind of you share your original journey of how you winded up getting here?
All right. So in 2003, I was an athlete, baseball player. I think I was playing in a summer league, and the coach that was coaching here at the time was at the game, and he was scouting me. So he was like, "Hey, why don't you come up to Burlington?" I was like, I was from like Salem County, so that's far.
It's a little bit of a schlep.
Yeah, it's like 2 counties in between to get up there. So I was like, all right. So I came up here, and I played 2 seasons up here, baseball. Stopped going to school. Got into the work field, and didn't like what I was doing. I was always like a creative mind, so I wrote a script in 2007, and kind of that's where it all started. So it's been like, it's
been like 20 years out in the real world,
Correct.
as we say, and you're back as a student. So it's pretty amazing that, the differences that you see today from when you first came to college to now. What are some of those differences that you see?
I would say, honestly, everything is like like not online, but like when I came here, it was book and pencil still. Like when I was going to school,
you needed a sharpened pencil and
Correct.
a notebook.
Yeah, everything was like physical, like everything you had in your hand, and now everything's like streamlined online. Or you're like, I opened up today. I started a course today, and the textbook's online.
Yeah.
Like I wasn't used to that. Like everything was like you had your textbook in your book bag.
Oh, no, I remember carrying all my books in my book bag. I was going to break my back.
Yes.
Yeah, now you got your iPad or your phone, and everything's accessible.
It's technology, like, because, back then there wasn't even social media.
Correct.
I mean, you're talking before MySpace. So, like, now, everything is just so different. So, like, when I came back, over the summer, I took 3 classes. That was a learning curve just to get acclimated to how to, learn again, like, to be honest with you. So,
sure.
So it's, but now I'm, back in the groove kind of, so, but it was definitely different.
So the challenges of coming back now as an adult learner, like you said about we're going from pen and paper to, online, and the resources available then versus the resources available now to you are just unbelievable.
It
right?
is, and it's like back then. Again, if you had to, and it's it's hard to remember that long ago. It was 03, 04, so it was 21 years ago. Was the last time, but everything you researched was out of a book, or I think back then there was one website we used, but now like I don't even know if you're supposed to, but my mom's a teacher too. She says like you can look stuff up on AI if you have a question, and I almost felt like I was cheating. Like if I had a question, you know what I mean? I was like, Ma, are you sure I'm like if I have a question, I ask AI, and it's just weird, and I almost felt like I was not cheating, but like kind of dodging the system. Like I'm so used to putting that extra work in, which now it's like everything's right at your fingertips. You know what I mean? So it's crazy.
What about your peers, like interacting with them or talking with other people that are back at school?
I feel
versus
old.
you.
I feel old. Yeah.
Right. Well, we're all old.
Yeah,
you and me,
I
man.
know.
We're,
I see these
there.
kids and they look like. So I have a 16-year-old stepdaughter. So these kids. She'll be 17. So these kids look like her.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? She's a junior in high school, and they're just out of high school. So it's So it's almost like I feel like the old guy.
How are you handling that?
I just I shrug it off. I laugh in my head.
Are the students kind of interacting with you differently?
No, they don't interact with me at all. They probably think I work here. I don't know. Yeah, they probably think I'm a professor. I don't know. Yeah, no.
Hey, that could be a dream, right?
Yeah,
maybe.
But even when I was young, I didn't interact much. So I should say that. So my personality hasn't, like, even when I was 18, 19, I always kept to myself. I was kind of like one of them, guys that really didn't.
Yeah.
I didn't go to parties in high school.
Okay.
Like I was always kind of to myself.
So what I think is really interesting is you left RCBC and you had this really amazing career with really like nothing, right?
Nothing.
You didn't have any resources. You had no money.
Mm-mm.
You didn't go to film school.
Mm-mm.
You didn't finish classes here.
Nothing.
So, when you're talking to other people and these other students and telling them, look at this extraordinary career you've had, like it's amazing. I mean, it's not kind of amazing. It is amazing. So how did you do that? Like that must have been such a powerful moment and a lot of craziness along the way.
Yeah. So, I mean, it's hard to. So what I would say is my personal situation was probably there's one in a million, honestly, because the first hurdle is money. So when you get into the film business, if it's different when you're working for a company. Like if you go and get a job for Fox Studios or whatever, the money's already there.
Right.
If you're doing film work yourself,
you're raising that money yourself.
Yeah, you got to raise it, and then once you raise it, you got to make something that somebody cares about because the money's only a part of the battle. Now, you can make a movie, but if that movie never gets any traction, who's going to fund you again?
Yeah.
So my particular case, in 2013, I was like, I'm going to make a movie. I wrote a script for like $10,000. That's kind of the budget I put on it. Again, I was broke. I was working at a car dealership, writing in my spare time when it was snowing in the winter. You're not selling cars, so I was just writing. So I went to like this one guy that I cast preliminary. I didn't even know what I was doing. I cast a guy before I had any money. You know what I mean? So I said to him, I was like, hey, listen, I was like, do you know anybody that might put some money into this? So he read the script. He knew a guy out in Chicago, businessman. He put the first 5,000 in. So I was like, all right, now we got 5,000. We gotta get 5,000 more. So I had another guy put another 5,000 in. So now I got two guys for 5,000. I have a script and a dream. So I went and made the movie, and that was called Deadly Gamble, the one you had said earlier. It did pretty well for me. Like it got distribution, which is hard.
Yeah, distribution is really
very
tough.
hard. Yeah, especially today, it's even harder. But back then, it got signed to a studio out in LA. They put it on like cable TV, all the big platforms. But there was no money coming in. So that's the thing.
So then how do you get
There's
the next
no money coming in. Right.
for the next one?
Correct. So that's where a lot of filmmakers fail. So they'll make the movie and then they'll realize, oh, now I'm still broke. Mm-hmm. So I was like, oh, what do I do? Made another movie, The Listing. So now we bumped it up to 25,000. So now we're at 25,000, which is, you're getting a little more cash flow in there. Made that won awards. That was like the first award-winning film. Made no money again. So now we're at like 2017. We're 4 years in. Now I have a kid. So now, you know, you have the
Now
kid,
you gotta
I'm married.
bring in money.
Right.
Yeah.
So now you're not a single guy living at home anymore. Now I'm, you know,
Right.
so it was like a 4-year span of me, you know, going from the first one to this one, kid, wife, house. So I'm like, all right. So while they were good films, very polished films, very, you know what I mean? I call them cookie cutter films, like where they just blend into every other title that's out there. There's nothing separating it. So I came up with this Human Hibachi thing. The most unpolished film you'll ever see, the most uncinematic films you'll ever see. Literally, high school kids can make a better, and when I say piece, like a cinematic piece in a weekend by the technology that's out there. But what separates them is the content, and what really stuck was like I push boundaries on these movies.
Sure.
So I push boundaries, and that's what these people across the world gravitated towards. And I kept the trend up for the next 3 movies. It's kind of follows that same trend. And it was the perfect storm because they were easy to make. Not easy because it's never easy, but I could do it all myself. I didn't have to hire a crew. So, you know what I mean? Because I'm on a phone.
Sure, yeah.
So, but they made the money. They made the name. They won a war. And then, you know, it just kept snowballing. So it was kind of like the perfect storm.
So what I think is so interesting is that, like you said, you kind of had nothing leaving school, and you did all this on your own, like coming up with, you know, asking questions, reaching out to people, asking people for money, hardly knew. You're doing this as like a side hustle. You're trying to make it your main hustle. It's a lot, and no one really can teach you some of that.
No.
So what's interesting is what piece of advice that you see happening in your classes now, what piece of advice would you tell students that were in your space 20, would we say 2 years ago?
Yeah.
What piece of advice would you give them about how to go out, how to not even in the film business, just business in general, right? Just working with people, reaching out to people. Like, what do you see as that difference between you 22 years ago and the students of today?
I would say the number one thing is relationship building and making sure you have the relationships with the right people. There's so many times that you can make a relationship with the wrong person. You know what I mean? To me, like, and the other thing is you got to come into it with an open mind. A lot of times I see a lot of filmmakers, and I'm going to speak on the filmmaking side of things. They come in with the mindset that they know it all. You don't know it all. You never will know it all. Nobody knows it all.
Right.
So, and and that is something that's going to limit you right off the rip, is like thinking you know it all. You always have to have that open mind and always respect the person across the table from you, because they're bringing something valuable that you need, especially when your resources are limited. So relationships are huge. And then I would say, secondly, the biggest piece of advice is if you really, really want something, you can never give up. Like, because, you know what I mean? It's easy to give up. Once you give up, that's it. You're never going to get it, right?
Yeah, never give up.
Yeah, no, you can't. Yeah, I mean, especially within, I call it an impossible business. Like, as much as crazy as that sounds, is independent film is an impossible business because there's not that financial resources behind it. You know what I mean? So you got to really just keep pushing and pushing and pushing. And I was ready to give up, so I really was.
I love that you use the term never give up, because I feel like that's with your educational journey. Why now? Why come back to school? What has brought you to this pivotal point after you've had this, you know, all these accolades, world-renowned filmmaker? Why now?
To come back to school, honestly, I don't like regrets. That's probably the main reason, is regrets, is because I don't want to be, you know, when my kids are ready to go to school, I have to tell them, you got to go to college. You know what I mean? And then I don't want to ever hear them say, well, Dad, you didn't graduate college. That was one of the main reasons. I'll be honest with you. That was one of the main reasons. It's beyond like a degree or like any like that, because I can make my way through life without one. But it's that credential. I want that credential to be able to say, you know, your dad graduated school. And it's something I don't want to look back on and say, you know, it's something I regret. I want to hang the diploma somewhere in my office, you know?
I love it.
Yeah. So.
I had the same thing. I always wanted to, I was like, I wonder if I could ever go back and I can get my master's and I could get my doctorate. And I just kept, and like you, I went back to school. Like when I went for my master's and my doctorate, I was, not that I'm so old. My kids will tell you that I'm the oldest person in the world, right? But like that I wanted to be able to say, like, I did it, I
Right.
could do it, and I wanted to hang that piece of paper on the wall.
Exactly. And it means more than the
It
actual thing
does.
itself. Yeah.
It does. And just that you took all that effort and that time and that energy, and you're in a completely different space than you were 22 years ago.
Mhm.
I mean, think about your life then.
Yeah, I remember bits and pieces so long ago. I mean, 22 years ago, I think I don't even remember like where I was living. I was living up here. I don't. It was just a long time ago. You know, I mean, really, and so much has changed. You know, so but I honestly, I think, and this is just me saying this, like I think when you're fresh out of high school, nobody knows what they want to do right out of high school. Sometimes you might think but how many people get out of high school, they get a degree, and then they hate the job? That happens all the time. So I feel like, and I still probably don't know what I want to do. I'm a filmmaker, but I don't know if I want to keep doing it. You know what I mean? So you never really know where life takes you, and this is kind of where it took me right now. And I just, I live for today. I don't live for tomorrow. Tomorrow might never come.
I love that. What has been, or who has been, what professor or class has been like most inspirational for you, whether it's from before, right now, coming back? Like what has really kind of stuck with you from your classes?
What's funny is, I mean, and this is crazy, the one class I failed was art, and I'm an artist, which I don't know if that's inspirational, but it's ironic. I literally failed the art class here. And I consider myself an artist. And
I would say so.
Yeah. So, but inspiration-wise, I would say, I'm trying to think. I really don't know I can't, because that was so long ago, and I just started fresh. So,
well, who has been your inspiration?
In school or out of school?
Either.
Ah, man, my parents. As crazy as that, I'm a blue collar, humble person, so I don't go and say, "Oh, this guy that I met in Hollywood." No, my parents. I've never seen more, people with bigger hearts, and just they work hard and they give back, and to me, that's kind of the attitude I want to give. As you see, like I have no problem taking anybody who wants to learn a business, because when I got into it, nobody wanted to teach me anything, nothing. There's people, and that's just the world. The world is like that. Like if there's 10 filmmakers out there that I work with, 9.5 of them don't want to teach anybody anything, and they don't want to work with anybody. That's the other thing I come across. And so my whole thing is to inspire others and to give back what I didn't get when I got in the business, because I always said if I ever make a name or a platform for myself, I want to be that guy that helps the people that want that,
And that's come full circle for you, because you've actually used some of our RCBC students as interns, which was wonderful. I reached out, and that was like, I mean, what did that mean to you? That must have been so cool.
Yeah, that was cool. See, again, because that's kind of like what I drive myself off of, is giving back. So, I kind of put myself in their shoes, they want to, get involved in the business. And, it was like surreal, I should say. And it's fulfilling, because again, that's like probably their first real, film set, and they're working with real actors and real crew guys, and that's something they'll never forget. That you'll never forget that first time. They could go on to work in a big Hollywood picture somewhere, but that they'll never forget that first. You know what I mean? So it was cool.
Yeah, their first step into the pond there.
Yeah.
So the interesting thing about community college is that you can be of any age, from anywhere, be interested in anything, and come and take classes. And what I wanted you to share was, I'm such a lifelong learner. And as an artist, right, we're learning constantly what works, what doesn't work. We're learning new tech. We're learning new, we're trying to, be better at our art and our craft. What would you tell someone that's, an adult, maybe similar to you, been out in the industry or any industry, and wants to come back, and maybe they're kind of on the fence? What would you tell them?
So they want to come back and they want to, expand their education.
Yeah, or finish like you. Like maybe they never got a degree. Maybe they just want to take a class to learn more about something specific.
So it's never too late. That's the number one thing I would tell them. Obviously, it's never too late. And school to me is, it goes beyond the degree. To me, like sometimes it's just good to, I mean, listen, some people could take classes as hobbies. If you just, you don't have to take a full load. You could take one class a semester just to keep your brain waves going. You know what I mean? So there really is no like, what should I say, set system, especially at a community college where it's affordable, you know? And it's, you know, to me, I feel like school, sometimes, you know, people need that. It could be an outlet for somebody that's going crazy at home and the kids running all over and the wife and the husband. But it's something that you can literally do by yourself in seclusion in your office or your bedroom, whatever. And just like when I went back in the summer, it was literally like my getaway. You like, you know what I mean? Because I could say, hey, you know, hon, I'm going to go do schoolwork. And I would go and do it for 2 hours and I'd feel better when I got out, you know? So I mean, it's multifaceted, you know, it could be for a degree or it could be just to keep the brain sharp. So
I really like that. And I wanted to say that I think you're such an inspiration, but I want to know, what are your thoughts for what you're going to do 5 years from now, 10 years from now, 25 years from now? Where do you see yourself maybe as an educator, as an educational aspect, and also as an artist? Where do you think you're going to go with that?
Yeah. So I've had a lot of people, not a lot, well, probably a lot of people say that I should teach certain things, like where I should have my own little class in terms of like taking like nothing and making something for independent filmmakers. Sure. Really like teaching that. So I was starting to develop that kind of class. Then I think I had talked to you about that. Yeah. I had talked to you about that. Yeah. And but as far as like filmmaking myself, like I'll never stop that. I might slow it down a little bit, like, you know what I mean? But I'll never ever stop that. So, you know, I'm probably definitely 5 years. Yeah, probably where I'm at now. Same, just a little older, you know?
So if you could go talk to your 22 years ago self, what would you tell yourself then? What you know now? What would you say?
Oh, man. I would probably say don't quit baseball, to be honest with you. I quit. I was really good. I was getting scouted like by pro teams. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, and that was that's kind of, remember I talked to you about the regret thing. That was one of the biggest regrets I ever had. I walked off, I just quit right here at RCBC. It was called BCC then. Yeah. But I had quit, and I was in my prime. I was 19.
Why'd you quit?
Lost the love for the game. College is a lot different than high school. So the sport in high school, you're playing with all the friends you grew up with. You know what I mean? When you get to like
the
college,
whole camaraderie.
Yeah, yep. So when you get up here, you don't know anybody. You don't know any of the kids. So there's none of that like gel with any of them. It's like a job. You know what I mean? It's you practice it. I think we're practicing 7 a.m. and then back at like 5 p.m. So it's twice a day. So it's a lot. It's like a job. You kind of lose that love for the game. And at 19, like my brain was all over. Like, you know what I mean? It was all over. What do I want to be? I don't want to be this. So I'll try this. I'll try that. So I got to quit baseball to do that. But it would be, you know, don't quit baseball. And I probably would tell myself to graduate then. I would, you know, because I had a hard road from like 19 to like, what am I, 41? So from like 19 to like 32 was like a tough road.
So I think a lot of people have this conception that community college is only for students that don't know what they're doing, that maybe they're not really sure, but it is okay not to be sure. What would you tell those students that do come here, that are, you know, that take a class here, take a class there, which is totally fine, totally great to keep your brain active, as you said. What would you tell them that it's okay not to know what you want?
Yeah. I mean, I honestly, again, like, I don't think we ever really, truly, I mean, you might think you know what you want, but I don't think you ever really know what you want. We're always thinking of something else, even as 60-year-olds, 70-year-olds, you know what I mean? People are constantly, oh, I could do this or I could do that. So I don't really think we ever really know what we want, but we kind of do what we want and take what we want. I don't know. But I would just say that, you know, find something you enjoy. That's the number one thing. You got to enjoy something, like, you know.
Sure.
And try and make the best out of it. Try and make money at something you enjoy. That's the key. That's the key. And listen, I've worked every job under the sun. I mean, as far as like, and, you know, so I know like what, you know, what's really sucks. And, you know, I've done everything. So I've been through it all in terms of like what I didn't enjoy.
Sure.
I was still making money, but I was doing something I didn't enjoy. So it's kind of like, I would say, just find something you enjoy and just try and make a living at that. And I do value happiness over money. So that's the other thing. So there's a common medium, I think, too. Like if you can, like for instance, like if I was making $150,000 selling cars and hated my life, I'd rather make $75,000 making film and loving my life. So I think there's a common medium, because money's money, but in the end, what are you? Okay. But what are you? You're just, you know what I mean? You're just going and making money.
Well, definitely. And you are Mario Cerrito. We are so happy that you came on today to join us. Give us a little bit of an update about Human Hibachi and where you're moving to for future, and let everybody know where they can find out about it.
Okay, so Human Hibachi 3, The Last Supper, is in its last leg of post-production. It will be out probably, well, the DVDs and stuff will be out this year, but it'll be on streaming in 2026.
Great.
And then I'm probably going to do something in the spring, a whole nother movie that was thrown at me by somebody else. So I'm always involved in something. Where I can be found, RCBC halls, I guess. Nah.
Love it.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. Definitely. Thank you so much for joining us today. We really appreciate it. We're super looking forward to everything that you do in the future. Best of luck.
For sure. Thank you for having me.
Thank you for joining us on this episode of Who's in My Class. We hope today inspired you and showed you the incredible journeys happening all around us. Every student at RCBC has a powerful story. By listening, you're helping us celebrate the unique and diverse people who make up the heart of our college. Be sure to subscribe and join us as we spotlight another amazing student. Until then, remember to be curious. Your next source of inspiration is probably sitting right next to you.